네, 잠시 후 통일과 나눔이 주최하고
May I have your
국제보건의료학회
attention, please? The Global
통일보건의료학회
Unification
국가
Conference,
공동
hosted by the
주관하는
Uni-Korea
글로벌
Foundation and
통일컨퍼런스가
jointly
시작될
organized by the
예정입니다.
Korean Society of Global Health and the Association of Healthcare for Korean
본
Unification will
행사는
soon
동시
begin.
통역이 제공됩니다.
Simultaneous
국제보건의료학회
interpretation will
유튜브
be
채널을
provided
통해서는
during the
영문
ceremony.
통역을
The Korean Society of
음성으로
Global Health
또
YouTube will
통일보건의료학회
stream in
유튜브
English,
채널을
and the
통해서는
Association
한글
of
음성으로
Healthcare for
송출이
Korean
되고
Unification
있습니다.
YouTube will be streaming in Korean.
May I have your attention, please? For your information, simultaneous interpretation will be provided during the conference. The Korean Society of Global Health YouTube will streaming in English, and Association of Healthcare for Korean Unification YouTube will be streaming in Korean. 네. 안녕하십니까? 이번 글로벌 통일 컨퍼런스의
Good
사회를 맡은
morning, good afternoon,
김소윤입니다.
good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Soyun Kim, and I'll be serving as the MC of today's
국제보건의료학회가
Global
공동 준비한
Unification
포스트 코로나
Conference.
시대를 맞아
The
다가올
global
미래를
health
새롭게
crisis and the health
그려보는
community of the
글로벌
Korean
통일
Peninsula
컨퍼런스
is today's conference topic,
글로벌보건위기와
and it's been
한반도
jointly organized by the
건강공동체라는
Korean
주제로
Society of
준비한
Global
이번
Health and the
컨퍼런스에
Association of
참여해주신
Healthcare for the
모든
Korean
여러분께
Unification
진심으로
in order to
감사드리고
envision a
환영합니다.
post-corona pandemic society.
먼저
Thank you
박상은
everyone for taking part in
국제보건의료학회
today's conference.
회장님과
First, there will be
재단법인
opening
통일과
remarks
나눔
by Sang-eun
이영선
Park,
이사장님의
President of the
계획서가
Korean Society of
있겠습니다.
Global Health, Association of
박상은
Healthcare
회장님을 잠시
for Korean Unification.
소개해드리겠습니다. 박상은
And
회장님은
now let me give you a brief introduction
국제보건의료학회
of the
회장이시고
President Park
통일보건의료학회
Sang-eun. He
고문이십니다.
is the President of the
고신의대
Korean
내과 교수, 대통령
Society of
직속
Global Health and the
국가순환요리위원장을
Association of Healthcare for the
역임하셨고
Korean
현재
Unification.
국제보건의료학회 회장,
And
샘병원
he is
미션
now
원장,
the
아프리카
President
미래재단
and Chairman
대표이십니다.
of the
계획사
Sam Hospital
부탁드리겠습니다.
and African Future Foundation.
안녕하십니까?
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening,
팬데믹이
everyone.
새로운 변이 바이러스 발현으로
The breakout of new
전
variants
세계적으로
of the COVID
가파른
virus
확산 추세를
has
보이고
driven the spread
있습니다.
of the COVID on even
코로나를
faster track
통해 배운
all around the
교훈
world.
중 하나는
One of the lessons
자국의
that we have
배타적인
learned
감염
through
관리로
this situation is
결코
that a closed,
팬데믹을 막아낼 수 없다는
self-isolated
것입니다.
infection management cannot
최고의
prevent the
선진국이라고
pandemic.
자처했던 미국과
The so-called developed
영국을
countries
비롯한
like the US,
유럽이
UK, and European
자국
countries
중심의 방역과
have so far
백신
implemented
정책을 쏟아내었으나
nation-centered quarantine and vaccine
엉뚱하게도
policies,
델타와
but
오미크론의
Delta
변이
and
바이러스는
Omicron variants
다른
came
제3세계에서
out of the third
출현하여
world,
다시금 전 세계를
breaking
코로나
the expectations of
바이러스의
everyone,
공포로
and has driven the
몰아가고
whole world
있습니다.
again into the horror of
지구촌은
COVID-19.
이제 하나의 운명 공동체입니다.
Global community is of one
자국민의
destiny
생명과
now.
건강을 추구한다고
Pursuing the protection of
그것이
life
결코
and
주어지는
health
것이
of
아니라
one's own country cannot
함께
just
더불어
guarantee
생명을
the
지키는
result
노력을
that we
기울일
wanted.
때야 비로소 가능한
We
것입니다.
have to work hard to protect
따라서
the life,
아시아와
and we have to
남미와
work together.
아프리카의 개발도상국의 아픔에
And that is
더
why we
가까이
have to
다가가
bring ourselves
함께
closer
문제를
to the
풀어내려는
pains of
국제적 노력이
people in
더욱
Asian
결실이
and Latin American
요구됩니다.
and African countries.
왜냐하면 생명은 결코
Because life
혼자서
is
지켜낼 수
something that you
없는
can protect
공동체적인 가치이기
by the work
때문입니다.
of one single country or one single person.
우리나라도
It's a communal
휴전선
value.
접경을 맞대고 있는 북한의 생태계
The
환경과
situation in North
감염
Korea with
상황이
which we share our
만만치
borders
않습니다.
shows severe infection
북한은
and
코로나
degradation in
발병
ecosystem.
아예 국경을 전면 폐쇄하는
North Korea
극단적인 방역
shut down
정책을
its border at
펴고
the beginning
있으며
of the COVID
백신
situation in quite an
접종도
extreme
일절하지
manner,
않아
with zero
접종률
vaccination
0%의
rate,
세계
which is
유일무이한
the only
국가이기도
case in the
합니다.
world.
이러한 조처는
This
엉뚱하게도
has had
기타
a
약품과
butterfly
필수
effect when
공산품의
combined
수입까지
with
막으면서
import ban of
북한
necessary
아이들의
medicine and
기본적인
products
예방 접종이
that led to
중단되고
the complete
국민들은
stoppage
필요한
of
약을
basic
구하지 못해
vaccination of the
적절한
children
치료에도 큰
and
어려움을
prevented the
겪고
people
있는
from getting the
현실이라고
medicine
합니다.
they need.
우리나라는 선진국으로서
As a leading
국제
healthcare
보건
country,
협력의 책임을 다할
South
뿐만
Korea must
아니라
not only take
같은
responsibility
민족의
of
신음
international
속에도
cooperation,
귀를
but
기울여야
also
할
need to
것입니다.
heed to the
이미
pains of our brothers and
말라리아와
sisters.
조류독감 그리고 아프리카
As we already
돼지열병에서도
experienced from malaria,
경험하였듯이
aviation
북한의
flu,
감염
and African
확산은
swine fever,
바로
the
남한의
spread of diseases in
보건안보의
North Korea is
위기이기
a
때문입니다.
crisis against healthcare
이런
security of our
상황에서
country.
글로벌보건위기와
In this
한반도
situation,
건강공동체라는
today's Global
주제로
Unification Conference, held under the theme of global health crisis and healthcare community in the Korean Peninsula, is very timely. I would like to thank the organizer, Korean Society of Global Health, and Association of Healthcare for Korean Unification and their members, as well as the host of this conference, UniKorea Foundation. And more than anything, my special thanks goes to the keynote speaker, Professor Jeffrey Sachs, and other renowned scholars. And I would like to also thank former UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon for his willingness to provide congratulatory remarks. And my biggest and warmest thanks goes to those of you joining us online to be with us. Happy New Year, and thank you very much.
Well, first of all, I'm very glad to see everyone who are participating at the conference. The global health crisis and also the health community of the Korean Peninsula is the topic for today. And I would like to extend my thanks and I heartily welcome all the participants for today. The unprecedented health care crisis and economic crisis are ailing humanity nowadays. The inter-Korea's strange relation seems to continue, and new competition between US and China is making the world economy uncertain. Now, I believe it's time for Korea to help the countries in dire situation and to contribute to humanity's peace, prosperity, and sustainability, particularly the last remnant of Cold War zone, along with the North Korea and also multi-stakeholders, we have to understand the issues and challenges to address some of the challenges that is hindering for the unification. The organizer of the conference is UniKorea Foundation, and the hosts are AHKU and Korean Society of Global Health. And by laying out a healthy foundation for the exchanges of the health issues and other informations today, I hope that we can contribute to setting up the foundation for the unification. And I would like to ask you to input valuable your thoughts and opinions. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for the opening remarks. And moving on, we have the welcome remarks by Young-sun Shin, Secretary General of the WHO Western Pacific, Kim Eun-pan, 8th Secretary General of the UN, and Min Seok-kim, Chairman of the National Assembly Health and Welfare Committee.
Well, I would like to sincerely congratulate you on the opening of the 2022 Global Unification Conference, and also I thank those who for organizing the event, and my special thanks goes to Professor Jeffrey Sachs for the keynote presentation. Some say that we need to turn crisis into an opportunity. I hope that in the areas that we're going to discuss today as a topic today, I would hope that a great moment where a crisis really turns into an opportunity. Global health crisis and health community crisis on the Korean Peninsula will become an opportunity where South and North Korea share experience and create a new vision of health community on the Korean Peninsula as well as peace. As many of you as experts have considered such issues, I hope your wisdom will shine upon this venue. Your words and policies that will be shared will also be collected and shared to lead into good policy. Thank you.
The COVID-19 pandemic situation has been continuing around the world, and it has claimed millions of lives globally already. And COVID-19 has long become one of the biggest threats to the humanity that requires more than one single country. It must be jointly responded through collective wisdom of international community. North and South Koreas cannot be an exception to this. The two Koreas are bound together by life. They are exposed to the same infectious and natural diseases and have no choice but to cooperate to survive. In particular, considering that protecting life and safety of all people is security and peace of our time, inter-Korean cooperation in the field of healthcare directly related to life is all the more important task. Pyongyang's response to COVID-19 has been nothing but containment and isolation, which is worsening the situation. However, our strategic actions to drive peace process must continue to advance for the cause of healthcare cooperation. By thinking hard on creative ways of inter-Korean healthcare cooperation, we all are urgently called upon to come up with mutually beneficial cooperative framework. If North and South Koreas somehow find a way for cooperation in quarantine and healthcare and invite neighboring countries to build a Northeast Asia quarantine and healthcare cooperative bloc, it will be cycled back to being a solid foundation for peace on the Korean Peninsula. In closing, I would like to thank the chairman of Korean Society of Global Health Association and the chairman, Kim Shin-gon, of Association of Healthcare for Global Unification, and all the other stakeholders of the conference. My special thanks also goes to the keynote speaker, Professor Jeffrey Sachs of Columbia University, and Chairman Shin Hee-young of Red Cross Korea, and Professor Chun Eun-taek of Yonsei University Medical School, and all the other participants and discussants in this conference. Thank you and welcome, everyone. And this conference invites not only the professionals in the healthcare sectors, but also the inter-Korean relations. So we'd like to expect a feasible solutions at the end of the conference. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. From 2009 to 2019, I served as a Secretary General of WHO Western Pacific Region, Shin Young-soo. As we welcome a new year of 2022, Korean Society of Global Health and Association of Healthcare for Korean Unification are jointly hosting Global Unification Conference. My sincere congratulations to you. I worked for 10 years at WHO as a key leadership member, so I could have an opportunity to deeply think about the meaning and importance of global health for Korea. First, Korea, through the trade in the global market, could join the ranks of advanced countries with a GNI per capita of over 30,000 within just a generation. The Republic of Korea has accumulated psychological and or physical wealth, and I think we have greater moral duty to share the success to other countries. Second, Korea has already become a role model for developing countries. Therefore, a lot of countries want Korea to share its experience and know-hows for its advancement. Third, we have experienced COVID pandemic and global climate change, so all countries need to support one another and prepare and respond together. And we increasingly agree to such a spirit of Earth community. Therefore, the importance of global healthcare should be more emphasized in Korea, and in the efforts to strengthen the roles of related global organizations, Korea has to have raised voice more. In fact, among 194 member states of WHO, Korea is already top 10 contributor.
민족 공동체로서의 북한 주민들의 건강
With deep
문제에
interest in the
깊은
health
관심을
issue
가지고
of North
설립된
Koreans as a national community,
통일보건의료학회
the Association of
그간
Healthcare for
깊은
Korean
경의를
Unification was founded, and I pay
북한
my
주민들의
respect to the
건강 지원
association's
문제는
efforts so far.
민족
So,
공동체의
supporting
과제이기도
health of
하지만
North Koreans is the
엄밀하게
issue
따지자면
of national
국제보건의
community, but
영역이기도 합니다.
technically, it is also a part of the
때문에
global health.
저는 오늘 두 학회의 공동
Therefore,
컨퍼런스의
it's
개최
meaningful to
큰
have
의미를
the
두고자
conference
합니다.
jointly hosted by the two
아무쪼록 오늘
organizations.
이 자리가
I hope this will be an
남북한의
opportunity for
보건의료
us to make
협력에서
efforts
그
to advance the
방향과
direction
방식에
and
대해서
approach
발전적인
for
노력이
inter-Korea
이루어져야
healthcare
하는가
cooperation
한반도 평화를 모색하는
and to find ways to
소중한
bring about
기회가
peace on the
되어주길
Korean
바랍니다.
Peninsula.
감사합니다.
Thank you.
네, 글로벌 보건 위기와 한반도 건강 공동체에 대한
Thank you
남다른
so
비전과 또
much
축하 말씀을
for the
해주신
congratulatory
김민석
remarks with special
국제보건복지위원장님, 안기문
visions
전
and
유엔
ambitions.
사무총장님,
So my thanks goes
신영수
to all
전
three
WHO
people, the
서태평양
chairman Min-sa
사무총장님께
Kim,
감사의
chairman, former
말씀을
Secretary
드립니다.
General Kim Won-pan,
이상으로
and
개회
former
시도를
Secretary General
마치겠습니다.